Alright, so this is my third video, and this is basically just talking about Amazon FBA in 2020. Is it really worth it? Is it worth starting at this point? I can tell you it's 2019, it's the end of 2019. We're in December 2019, and I've already started the process of my Amazon FBA. I started it back in November. And I really wanted to get my product out by December so that people can do their Christmas shopping and buy it all out. But the amount of time that this takes is longer than you would expect. So definitely keep that in mind. This is not you come up with an idea today and, you know, in a week or 2 weeks, you're selling it out. That's not how it works. I can tell you the costs definitely are real. You have to be willing to invest some money in this and be willing to risk it for you to have a return. And I can tell you, just to get the mold, just to get the samples, it's $500 for me personally. Now, that's a small item. That's a small item that doesn't cost too much to make, and it's light, so it doesn't cost too much to ship. All that has to be taken into consideration. I don't know how much money you guys have to spend, but your budget is going to be huge. You really want to get samples so that you don't waste money on production units, and those aren't even, they're not even the right type, or you want to make sure the product is right so you can do it once and do it right. Now I can tell you my samples cost me $500 to make just to get the samples. Now communication takes forever. I live in Pennsylvania. I'm talking to people over in China, and the time difference is night and day, obviously, as you guys know. I get home at 9 o'clock at night. I don't get home at 9 o'clock at night, but I'll get on my laptop at 9 o'clock at night, and I'll start talking to them, because that's when they basically start their workday, and I can finally get a little bit of communication on as I'm finishing up my night, here in the States. Now, I'm sure they're also talking to multiple people, so they can't really talk or get back to me immediately. So that communication process is definitely something that's going to take a little bit of time, and you really want to put some time out for that. You don't want to be in a time crunch because you're probably not going to make your deadline. You don't want to count on things like that. It's going to take some time, and you also want to take into consideration what time of year you're starting this. If you're doing something, or if you're going to try to sell something that's a seasonal product, or something that only sells, at certain times of the year, you want to make sure that product is ready to be sold near that time of year. If you think you can get it out, at that time of year, and you start far too late, and by the time your product comes out, that part of the year passed, you're screwed, because no one's gonna buy your product, and you're gonna be paying, if you do Amazon FBA, you're gonna be paying for them to hold your product every single month until it sells out. Instead, if you plan it out right, you can know what time of year your product sells, and make sure that you have your product available to sell before that time of year starts, so that when people start typing in to look for that product, you're already an option. And all that, little things like that are things that you really want to take into consideration. Obviously, I'm sure if you guys are watching this, you guys know about Helium 10. There are plenty of videos where you can find a coupon code and type that in so you can get half off per month, depending on what package it is that you want to get. Helium 10 is going to be a cost. The samples are going to be a cost. The production is going to be a cost. I can tell you, they already told me my production is going to be $1,200 just for the production mold, and then I have to order $500-600 worth of units. So it's going to be $1,700-1,800 just for my product to be made. Then I have to pay for professional pictures, because Amazon requires professional pictures to be taken with a white background, and all these requirements. Then you want to pay for somebody to do a packaging for you, maybe come up with a name, depending on how you want to sell it, come up with maybe a slogan, little things like that. That's all, you know, tailored to your product and how it is that you want to do it. Me personally, I know for a fact that I had to pay for helium-10. I had to pay for my samples. I had to pay for a production mold and my production units. I had to pay for professional pictures. And I had to pay for Amazon FBA to hold my product and to sell my product. That's another thing that you want to keep in mind. Amazon FBA is an expense, but is an expense that can maybe save you, because if you want to do this all yourself and hold your own product, you might be on the 15th page of Amazon of people searching that product, and no one's really going to care about you. But if Amazon FBA holds your product, they rank you a little bit higher. So you might surpass some of those people who maybe are doing it themselves. Unless those people doing it themselves are just killing it and selling a lot, you know, you have a better chance by having Amazon FBA, you know, work it out for you. And all you do is just pay them a small fee, and maybe that is worth it, you know, for you or not. So those are just all little things that you want to keep in mind as far as starting Amazon FBA. Now, if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any tips or ideas or suggestions that I can do for my product, for my channel, for my videos, I'm willing to take any advice. I really want to make this Amazon product work. Just trying to figure out if this is all worth it. All right, so it's been a couple weeks now. I've gotten all of my costs. We are a couple days away from Christmas Eve. I just wanted to give you guys a full breakdown of the cost and why it is that it cost me what it did. All right, so the first cost is going to be helium-10. Helium-10 is going to be a mandatory cost. We all need this if we want to sell something on Amazon FBA. This is going to be the product research tool. You need this so that you know what product to sell, and basically to see if it's already selling well enough for you to jump in the market and try to sell it yourself. There are plenty of videos about helium-10 so that you can find a coupon code. I personally paid $50. If you don't use a coupon code, it's going to be $100. But there are plenty of videos where you can find one for a coupon code and get half off. So once you find whatever product it is that you want to sell, you want to go on a website like Alibaba, whatever other website you find, so that you can find suppliers that can give you samples of them, and you want to get it for a real cheap price. Like I said before, I personally paid $500, and that's to get a sample of just my product itself. So after you get your samples and you realize that you like them, you can then get photos made. Now, there are a lot of requirements. I'm actually going to check right now. This is exactly what it is that they want. The image size should be at least 1,000 pixels in either width or height. Amazon recommends 2560 pixels wide. The image frame, the product should fill 85% of the frame, and the background color should have a pure white background. So these are things that, yes, we can all do them ourselves, but I would rather have somebody who is used to taking professional Amazon pictures just go ahead and do my professional pictures. This is going to be one of the first things that people see on the listing are your pictures. And if they see somebody having, you know, their own pictures taken as opposed to professional pictures, it's the little things like that that can maybe separate you from the rest. Another thing about the pictures is you can definitely get them for different price ranges. I happen to pay $140. That I probably paid too much for that, but she was a very high rated seller. We talked back and forth about a lot of pictures and actually ended up really happy for them. Now, when it comes to a name, you can either think of a name yourself or you can pay somebody to come up with a name for you. They'll come up with 5 or 6 different names. I had a couple names in mind, but I paid somebody $10 just to come up with names, just to see if I was even on the right track or to see if maybe it would change my mind at all. I ended up going with a combination of my ideas and his ideas, so it ended up just working out for me. So after you have some pictures and then you have a name, you want to come up with a logo and a brand. This person is also going to check to make sure that the logo is not taken, that the name isn't taken, and that you can really just move forward with this process. I happen to pay $105 for the logo branding. And again, that was probably a little bit too much, but this was my first project, so I really wanted to make sure that it was done by a professional and that he checked all the requirements to make sure that no one can sue me or get me in trouble or get my listing removed by me putting my listing on the market. So after you have your logo and your brand and your name and your pictures, you want to get a GS1 barcode. Now, there are many different barcodes that you guys can get. Speedy barcodes is another one. However, I've heard lately that Amazon is requiring GS1 barcodes because they are the top rated barcodes that people are supposed to be going for, and it's end of December. We're about to be, in 2020, so I would think that the requirements are going to start to get a lot more strict. So I just wanted to stick with barcodes that I know for a fact they would accept, so that I don't have to risk my product just basically getting delisted. So the GS1 barcode is going to be $250, and that's the initial fee, and then you're going to have to pay a $50 annual fee for that. After you get your photos, your name, your logo, and your GS1 barcode, you basically have to get your package design done. So there are definitely different people that can do that. Fiverr is going to be one of the websites that I use just to get my package design done. You're going to have to give this person all of your information in regards to all of your photos, your logo, your branding, and then your GS1 barcode. That way they can design your package with all of that on it, and then give that file to be printed by your manufacturer. I personally paid $50 just for my package design, but I'm gonna go a little bit into detail a little bit later, because I happen to get a little bit confused with somebody else who I had 2 people working on the same packaging. So now that you got all this, you might wanna start your Amazon Seller Essentials plan. This is gonna take a couple days. You do have to put your bank statement in, different verification processes. There are a lot of people who are trying to scam people, so Amazon is getting very strict and very tight as far as getting verification to know exactly who you are. So it is going to take a couple days just for them to verify your account. So you don't want to wait until the absolute last second to get that done. Amazon Seller Central is going to be $39.99. Again, this is going to be a mandatory fee. That is for the professional package. As I mentioned before, you want to get the professional package if this is your first time, or even if this is going to be a new listing. We're going to be on the 15th, one of the last pages, so we basically need any help we can get to get any sales or any eyes on our product. So if you're like me, once you started your Amazon Seller Central website and you opened it up, you had no idea what to do from there. You had all these pictures and you knew what your product was, but you had no idea what to do next. So at this point, I ended up paying for a professional keyword searcher who does SEO listings and basically will optimize your whole search. I paid $100 just for him to basically fill my entire Amazon Seller Central with all of the words in the right places so that I can maximize all of my profits. This to me was very worth it, especially if you're brand new. You're not gonna know what to put in. You may think you know what to put in until you realize that you are one of 100 people trying to do the same thing and you do not stand out whatsoever. So you need somebody who's a professional at making your listing stand out in any way, shape, or form, really, because that's really is what's going to save you at the end of the day. So at this point, your manufacturer is probably going to ask you for the file so that they can print out your package design. Now, I also had to pay $1,900 for my units on top of the $500 for my sample units, which brought it to $2,400 basically. And then that person, which is the manufacturer in China who has my units, is also going to be printing out my package design so that they can basically just put the product right into the package and then wait for my freight forwarder to pick everything up and take it over to Amazon. So the package design is basically, this is going to be a cost that it's all relative to whatever product you have. Some of these costs are going to be fixed and some of them are going to be tailored to whatever product it is that you have. I started with a very small product just to keep my costs as low as possible, and still there are many unexpected costs that I was not planning on spending. So at this point, I basically have to continue to go with it and just hope that I sell out of my whole inventory and I at least make my money back. So to print out all my packages, my manufacturer is telling me that it's $700. I'm trying to negotiate to see if we can maybe bring that down a little bit. Again, that's all going to be tailored to what it is that you're printing out. Mine was going to be a very small box. I'm hoping I can maybe change that to maybe bring it down to $500. If not, I'm just going to have to roll with it either way and just see whatever it is happens. All right, so these are basically all of my costs. The only one that's missing is going to be my freight forwarder. I am up to $38.47 in total cost right now, not to mention all of the time that I've put in. My freight forwarder is going to tell me my last initial cost, which is going to be to pick everything up and take it over to Amazon. We are a couple days from Christmas. I'm probably going to have her pick everything up Christmas Day, and realistically, it's not gonna get there for, okay, so these are messages directly from my freight forwarder over in China. It will take 28 to 30/35 to 45 days by sea shipping to arrive to Amazon warehouse from the US, UK without any customs inspection. If the customs inspection is encountered, the time will be delayed. The time of customs inspection is not stipulated, sometimes 2 weeks and sometimes 1 month for customs. It will then take 8 to 12 days, it will actually, or you can switch it, it will take 8 to 12 days by air shipping to the US, UK without any customs inspection. So air, 8 to 12 days, or by sea, 28 to 45 days. And this is directly from the freight forwarder. After the goods arrive at Amazon, so once your manufacturer has everything, your freight forwarder picks them up, depending on which method it is that you want to use, it could take 28 days to 45 or 8 to 12 days. Then once it gets to Amazon, Amazon warehouse will sort it out of their boxes. They will inform you in 2 to 3 days that your goods have arrived. And then everything will pop up on the Amazon Seller Central, which you can then begin your sales. So it really all takes a lot more time than you're anticipating, especially if you're trying to sell a seasonal product. You may want to save this for the next season because this is really going to take a lot longer than you're expecting. And if you're counting on selling out of it by a certain time, I would probably change your mind because that's probably not going to be the case unless you really plan it accordingly. All right, so these are basically all of the costs that we've acquired. I basically started this process, I want to say around Halloween, end of October. I probably won't have my product on sale for Amazon until the end of January. So these are just little things to think about. If you guys have any tips, any suggestions, any questions, please comment below. Let me know what it is that I can do better. I'm gonna let you guys know, I'm gonna give you guys an update. Once everything is launched, I'm gonna let you guys know what that process is like. And then I'm just gonna keep moving forward and doing updated videos as to see what it is to sell on Amazon FBA basically in 2020. My product will be out January 2020. So I'm basically gonna have the entire year from start to end to see what this entire journey is gonna be like. So again, comment, subscribe, and just let me know if you guys have any tips. So I'll see you guys soon.